Everyone who's been around him through the draft process says he is a cut above. He's ready for this moment.
Why is it so quiet about this guy?
You're right.
Where is the choo-choo to Cooper Flagg train? I don't get it. NBA, what are you doing? Why aren't you promoting this guy?
Some rookie seasons feel loud right away. Highlight players everywhere, crowds reacting before the move even finishes. Cooper Flagg's first weeks in the league did not look like that. They felt quieter, more uncertain, and honestly, a little uncomfortable if you expected instant superstardom.
Trap in the backcourt, up ahead to Coop, and Coop!
Through 10 games, he was scoring just under 14 points a night. The rhythm looked off, defenders were faster, windows were smaller, and the reaction came quickly, because that's how the modern NBA works. If a top pick isn't amazing immediately, people assume something is wrong. Too slow, too raw, too overhyped. But here's the strange part. If you follow his story closely, this slow beginning wasn't new at all, because the same pattern has shown up at every level he's ever played, and every single time, the ending looked very different. To understand why this rookie stretch suddenly matters, you have to jump forward instead of backward, past the early doubts, past the quiet stat lines, straight to the moment the numbers stopped looking normal. 4 straight games, at least 30 points, 5 or more rebounds each night. That combination might sound random, but historically it almost never happens for first-year players. In fact, the last rookie to string together a run like that played more than 40 years earlier, Michael Jordan. And before we go any further, no, this isn't saying Cooper Flagg is Jordan. Let's stay calm, nobody wants that argument in the comments. But when a teenager begins landing in statistical neighborhoods that's rare, it forces a different conversation. Not about hype, about trajectory. So the real question becomes simple. How does someone go from looking ordinary in October to historically rare by winter? Part of the answer lives in the way people judged him before he even reached the NBA. At the draft combine, his vertical jump measured 35.5 inches. Good number, not jaw-dropping. And online reactions treated that like a red flag. Comparisons to prospects with bigger bounce, questions about ceiling, the usual noise that surrounds young players before they've played a single real game. But basketball history keeps teaching the same lesson. Explosiveness helps. Understanding the game lasts longer. Nikola Jokic controls tempo without elite speed. Luka Doncic creates space without elite lift. Different paths, same dominance. Cooper's strengths have always leaned toward feel, timing, and decision-making rather than pure athletic flash, which makes his development easier to miss if you only watch highlights.
He's got this thing under control. They switch, Cunningham, drive, Coop, pull up.
To really see it, you have to rewind a few years. Back to international competition, under 17 World Championship. He's 15 years old, playing against older players and already affecting every possession. Rebounding near the top of the entire tournament, steals piling up, block shots everywhere. Then the championship game arrives and the stat sheet turns ridiculous. 10 points, 17 rebounds, 8 steals, 4 blocks. Numbers that sound exaggerated until you realize they actually happened. Even more surprising, he wasn't originally guaranteed a roster spot. Coaches needed late evaluation to understand how quickly he processed the game. That moment quietly introduced the theme that keeps repeating in his career. Struggle first, solve the puzzle, take control. You see it again when he moves up a class in high school. Older competition, higher expectations. Outcome? National Player of the Year. You see it again with USA basketball scrimmages filled with elite talent. After practices and games, coaches vote him the most impressive player in the gym. Different stage, same ending. Which brings us back to the NBA, where patterns usually disappear. His debut performance was solid but unspectacular. 10 points, 10 rebounds. On the same night, another young star exploded for 40, a reminder of how brutal this league can feel for newcomers. For a moment, it looked like this climb might finally stall. Then came Denver, 33 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, attacking angles confidently, finishing through contact, even celebrating after challenging one of the smartest defenders in basketball. Afterward, Nikola Jokic mentioned how composed he looked despite barely being 19 years old. Composure is easy to overlook until games get tight, then it becomes everything. That mindset followed him from college, where the same improvements curve showed up again. Early in the season at Duke, the scoring hovered around 16 per game. Shooting from deep struggled, nothing screamed dominance yet. But by the final stretch, the numbers changed dramatically. More than 21 points per night, over 50% shooting from the field, nearly 45% from 3. Not a small leap, a complete shift. Advanced analytics loved the impact too. Efficiency near the top nationally, defensive rating among the best, overall plus-minus leading the country. That combination helped him become one of the rare freshmen ever named National Player of the Year. So when he entered the NBA, the evidence already suggested patience would matter. And through 40 professional games, another historical marker appeared. Only 3 rookies in the modern era reached 750 points, 150 assists, 50 steals, and 30 blocks that quickly. Ron Harper, Michael Jordan, Cooper Flagg. Again, not proof of future greatness, but definitely not normal. Every memorable rookie year eventually delivers one night people never forget. For him, that night arrived against a familiar opponent chasing the same award conversation.
He's averaging 22 and 12 in his last 2 games. Lob up to Flagg.
Early momentum belonged to the other side. Quick scoring, crowd energy shifting. Then everything flipped. Relentless drives, soft floaters. Deep jumpers failing, defensive stops turning into fast breaks. By halftime, control had changed hands. By the final buzzer, the total reached 49 points. Teenagers are not supposed to score 49 in the NBA. History shows how rare that really is. Only a small group of rookies since 2000 have even crossed 45 in a single game. He joined them before turning 20. And somehow, the night still felt unfinished after a missed shot that could have forced overtime, which might actually fit the larger story perfectly, because nothing about his rise has been instant, nothing has been simple, nothing has been handed to him early. Instead, the same rhythm keeps returning. Questions first, answers later, slow openings, strong finishes, doubt turning into production once adjustments arrive. When a pattern survives international play, high school pressure, college expectations, and now the NBA, it stops looking accidental, it starts looking predictable. And that's where things become interesting for the rest of the league. Because if the learning phase is already shrinking, and the takeover phase is already beginning, then this rookie season might not be the real story at all. It could just be the introduction. We also haven't talked enough about defense, which might be the quiet reason coaches trust him earlier than most rookies. Rotations are sharp, help timing is early, he contests without fouling and rebounds in traffic instead of leaking outs for easy points. Those habits don't trend on social media, but they win minutes, and minutes create opportunity. Opportunity is how young players rewrite first impressions. There's also the physical timeline to consider. He's still adding strength, still learning angles, still seeing coverages for the first time. Most rookies peak years later, not months later. So if meaningful production is already happening now, what does that look like when experience finally matches instinct? That question is why scouts care less about the first 10 games and more about the direction of the next 100. Improvement speed matters, consistency after adjustments matters even more. And recently, the consistency has started to appear. Scoring bursts are coming within the flow of the offense instead of forcing the issue. Playmaking reads arrive a split second quicker. Defensive possessions last the full shot clock instead of ending early with mistakes. None of this guarantees superstardom. Development is never perfectly straight. Injuries happen, roles change, teams shift. But patterns still tell us where to look, and his pattern keeps pointing upward. So maybe the smartest way to view this season is simple. Not as proof of greatness, not as empty hype, just as the earliest clear signal that something real might be forming, one adjustment at a time, right in front of us. And if the past keeps repeating, the next chapter won't announce itself with noise, It will arrive quietly, then suddenly, and everyone will wonder how they missed the beginning when it was right here all along in plain sight. That is the part worth watching from this moment forward.